Alright, so in this video we are going to go and do a little bit of house cleaning in terms of setting up our groups because I want to be able to assign vertex colors to the high-res model that we will make here in just a bit. That way I can easily select areas of the UV layout inside of Substance Painter. So I want to set up those vertex color IDs. So what we need to do is we need to get these certain parts and pieces. Okay, so in this case, here we have the bolts that are on the side. So what I'm going to do is create a group called bolts. All right, so we'll call this bolts. And I'm just going to group everything. So I'm just going to turn on that base group, and that'll get all those particular models. And so basically, any new piece of geometry that just duplicates this geometry will also be placed inside of that group. Then what I want to do is create a group called wood and start adding all the wood pieces to it. So what we can do is we can start to group this stuff, but instead of using this $OS, what I'm going to do is just call this, the group name is wood right here, because I don't, if I were to actually use the $OS and try to use this name right here, it would constantly add like 1, 2, 3 to other group names that I call wood basically. So I'm just going to call this the side wood group, but it's in the group named wood like that. So let's go and make sure that's enabled. Cool. So now if I were to select this particular node right here and turn on my display grouping here, look at our primitives. I have bolts and then wood, bolts and wood. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is go and start to group the rest of the stuff. So what I can do, let's go and, so those guys are all going to be wood. That's all going to be wood right there. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate this. So I'm going to copy and paste it and put this guy right there. And I'll just leave the name, but it'll be in the wood group as well. So if I were to select this guy, so now that's all the wood. Those are all the bolts. Now we have the end supports. Not that we really need that. We do need it actually for the graph to work, but we can get rid of that group name at the very end. We'll do some cleanup there. All right, so now we have those guys, and then we put the tops on. So these guys are also all in the wood group, so I'm just going to hit paste again. There we go. And just link out of there. And again, the reason why I'm doing this is so it makes it easy for me to find all these pieces, so I can just go and assign vertex color to it. So really quickly, just to drive the point home now, I have this color node here, and I can select just the wood and give it maybe just red, like so. Let's turn this off. So now that's all the wood areas. And then if I were to go and create another color node, which, you know, we're going to do this, and go to bolts, and we'll make that blue. So now all the bolts are blue. All right, and so Substance Painter uses that information to help us select areas in the texture. All right, so then we have the ropes, and that's already in a group, so that's fine. And then down here, we've got more bolts, and we have these clamps here. So what I want to do is separate those two out. So we're going to go and create a group like so. I'm going to remove the $OS, and we'll just call this bolts. That way it adds it to that same group. And we'll call this clamp bolts group. And I want to create another group node here, and this is going to be called clamp. So I can use the $OS in this case. So we'll call this a clamp. And there we go. So now if I were to test out our group display here, oh, I keep forgetting to do that. Make sure you turn on your base group. There we go. Bolts, bottom planks, clamps, end supports, ropes, top supports. So now we have lots of options basically. Cool. So that is that. What I want to do next is go and start the process of building the high res model and get this baby ready for the vertex colors and texturing. All right, so that is how you go and start to group this. If you wanted to go and clean up some of your groups, I'm waiting for it to actually finish. There we go, the layout. What you can do is you can use a clean right here. And you can come down here and say remove groups, get rid of the wildcard star. And we can turn on our display. And you can look for things like point groups. So I don't have any point groups. I just have primitive groups here. And let's say I wanted to get rid of the end supports group. I would just type in end supports. And it removes it from the list. So that's how you would go and clean it up. I'm actually going to keep all those because I think I'm going to give all those areas their own specific color. I think it'll help inside of Substance Painter. So, all right, I'm going to leave the video there. And in the next video, we are going to do the high res. Thanks so much.